Hey guys, it's Sign here with HobbiesofaMan. Once again, and today we're doing another comic book review. Today we're looking at the collected Toppi Vol.1, The Enchanted World. Now this is by Magnetic Press. This is collecting all of Sergio Toppi's work in this collection of about 15 volumes, I think. There's like 8 or 9 of them that are, story volumes, like this, right? And then there's about 4 or 5, maybe 6 of them, I think, that are like art books that just have paintings and stuff like that in them, right? And I don't know too much about Sergio Toppi, so the foreword that was included here is actually quite good because it helps you understand who he is. But the demographic for this book is adult. It doesn't say anywhere on here, but I just don't think teenagers would be interested in this, and there is a certain level of sensuality and adult content and kind of very odd and concerning moments that kind of happen throughout this book, right? And the genres here are horror, supernatural, fantasy, and magical realism, depending on the story. But they're all kind of vaguely fantastical in some way. And there does not appear to be any adaptation of Sergio Toppi's work in any way. But I'm sure that he worked on some movie or something at some point. And so technically he was involved with his art turning into, something adapted for the screen, right? But I'm not really sure if that's the case or not, right? So the rating for this book is a 4 out of 5. I think it's very, very good. It's quite enjoyable, but it is not necessarily like the greatest thing ever, mostly because these are kind of, as far as I understand it, ordered chronologically. And so you get some of his earliest work before you get some of his top work, right? And so that means that this creator is developing his style, and also because short stories, in my opinion, for comic books are not necessarily the most interesting type of things to be told. I think that comic books excel at telling serialized long-form storytelling, and that means that short stories and anthology type things aren't really or exactly kind of my cup of tea. But I'd been interested in this book for a long time, and I decided to give it a go as soon as I saw it. And I got this for about $12, which is half the price. These are $25 a piece, 32 or 33 for Canadian. And the $12 that I paid for this was very much worth it. This is a massive, gigantic, very well-curated book. The artwork inside is phenomenal. The storytelling is quite good, regardless of my feelings on short stories versus long-form content. And in terms of like displaying this creator, it does an amazing job. It's really, really good. You see, it's phenomenal stuff. It's all in black and white. There's very little color throughout this, but when there is, it's pretty interesting, right? So this book is, premise-wise, a collection of Toppi's work. He published a bunch of short stories in a lot of different magazines throughout Europe, and this reads kind of like a collection of EC titles or something like Heavy Metal or the Penthouse comics, right? It's a anthology. Each story is separate and individual, and they all have like some sort of connective tissue in terms of themes and genre, but there is not necessarily anything that combines one story to the next, right? There's 11 total stories in this book. There's The Brazilian Wood, Black and Tan, Solitudinous Morbis, which is the third story. There's a story called Kroll. There's Mushrooms, King and the Crow, Hortruge, The Dollmaker, Aryan Guac, Prebolite, something, 1898, and A Minor God. And the artwork is pretty much the greatest thing out of this book, but otherwise it is still pretty enjoyable. So the book has this very nice hardcover. It's very thick, as you guys can see right there. There's about 200 pages in this, I think, something like that. Let's see. They are numbered, so it's 168, which is a little bit less than I would like, but it is still a very nice book. You open it to these nice end papers. It's different in the back as well, which is pretty cool. And before you get any of the content, there's some actual paintings here and stuff. So very nicely done. And then there's a foreword by Bill Sienkiewicz, who is a creator of Elektra or something like that, or he is someone that worked on Elektra, and he's very famous for his work on her. And he talks about, in his introduction to Sergio Toppi when he went to the Lucca Art Festival, and all of this interesting kind of difference between the American and the European style of comic books, right? And it's really, really good stuff. I really enjoyed that forward, and I actually really like a lot of these stories. So there really isn't too much to say. I mean, Brazilian Wood was published in Alter magazine in 1979. This story is about these people that go into the woods to do a picnic, and as they're doing that, they deal with a witch, and then she curses them, and as they're cursed, they die in a very crazy, very interesting way. And I quite liked it. I thought it was interesting, but it's not necessarily like an exciting story. It's more of a creepy kind of like fable-esque kind of story. Then Black and Tans was also in Alter magazine. This is about some characters that are, I think they're Scottish, and they're going to Ireland to fight some people. And when they do this, they end up coming across a girl, and she talks to Cuchulainn, which is a Irish legend. And these characters are killed by Cuchulainn because she made a deal with him. And Cuchulainn, in this case, ends up being some sort of devil type character, right? The third story, Solitudinus Morbis, is in Corto Maltese. This story is about a character that descends into madness as he kind of gets like sea mad, if that makes sense, and the way that this manifests. And it's really awesome. And some of these images are just phenomenal. Like, they're so cool. And it really shows this kind of like fog of war, or this kind of like, I don't know, connection to madness, to the sea, that is just really odd and crazy. And there's a few other stories. I think Cruel is probably my favorite one. That's story number 4, also in Alter magazine. This one is about a troll that goes into the village to kill children, and then he brings them back to his wife, and she makes food for him out of them. And the thing is that he actually doesn't like this, but because he's a troll, that's what is expected of him, and so he has to do it. And he is actually deeply pained by doing it because he doesn't like eating children. I think it's really cool. Mushroom is, very awesome because it deals with Mesoamerican creatures and characters, and I thought that was cool. The initial setup is more of a fae creature type thing, like a European type thing, but these characters end up transporting themselves into ancient Mesoamerica, into the Mayan and Aztec cultures, and it just looks awesome. The way that Toppi draws is very, very phenomenal. Like, that's so cool, right? And well, there's all there is to it. I mean, there's a few other stories that are really good, but I don't really want to tell you all of them. A lot of them are very similar to things you've seen in EC, creepy, eerie, and stuff like that. And maybe something like Shudder and what's the other one? Vampirella and Vampirus Carmilla, right? It's kind of stuff like that. It's very old school magazine style stories, and it's really interesting. I recommend you guys check this out if you're interested in it. I mentioned in my previous review of a Magnetic Press book that I didn't think that the artistry was worth the cost because the entertainment value was pretty low. But in this case, I don't think I have that issue at all. I found the entertainment value to be on par with the artistic value, and the price for this was pretty low for all of the interesting feelings and entertainment that I got out of this. Because even though, short stories are not my favorite type of storytelling when it comes to comic books, and honestly novels either, or books either, the expression that was shown here, and the interest and the styling was very cool and interesting. And kind of the thing is that the tropes aren't very new or anything like that, but yet they are very cool and interesting. I quite like them. So those are my thoughts on that. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down below. I hope you guys like this if you've read it, and if you haven't read it, are you gonna go check it out? Let me know down in the comments, and thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys later.